Hey guys, it's just me checking in. It's Wednesday the 3rd, I believe. Before I get started about the recap and talking to some people and some things that got me through yesterday, um, I need to talk about this, and I want to. It's only about 5 o'clock out here, whatever time zone I'm in anymore. I don't even know. Arizona's confused me. Um, Box117 at mail.com. Last week, I had a conference call basically with a few, several people, um, and wanted to talk about the continuation of Point to Thumb Journey when the walking stops in a few weeks. And it's imperative that um, we continue with this and and spreading the message. And so two things happened. One is not everybody that was invited attended the call, so that's the first thing. The second thing is a lot of the people I want to call, some responded to me, um, and some asked for additional information. Um, and I said I would post any information they wanted or needed. I have no worries with sharing that. I just didn't want to share it till I A, spoke with everybody, and then B, we created this special website. But you need to be invited to it. It's not open to the whole world. I don't want to be inundated with stuff. Anyway, what I'm going to ask you to do is, if you were on the call and you want to be a member of this group, um, go to box117 at mail.com. All right, that's Scott's helping me. He's organized that. When you go and let him know, respond to him, let him know you want to be part of the group, he will invite you. He'll send you an invite that you just accept the link. I don't know any other way to do it, so I'm sorry for the confusion. Secondarily, if you were invited to the call and didn't make it, I would still like to get together with you. Um, you could respond to that email there and let Scott know. I'd like to maybe do it. It's Wednesday. I'd like to maybe do it sometime this week because time is running short for us. Um, it's imperative that we get together so we know where our apples are at and can move forward with carrying the message, because we are going to do that. So if you were on the call, box117 at mail.com, please send Scott an email and tell him you'd like an invite to, or whatever email addresses you'd like an invite to that site. And that's kind of the continuation of the journey from a business standpoint. So and if you were not on that call, I would like to have a second one. Can you either reach out to Scott and let him know, or most of you, if you actually, let me rephrase that. If you weren't on the call, I would like to have a second one, but I'm not going to do it just for a couple people. If you were on that call, you were invited via text, which means you have my text number. So please text me 717-554-9847 if you'd like to be on that. If you'd like me to have a second call, so you can be in the loop of what was discussed and the future plans and so forth. Okay, I'd really appreciate the opportunity to share that with you, but I can't make it happen. Let me know if you're interested. I don't know all the people that were on the first call and who wasn't, so I know some. Anyway, so that's that part. Talking about yesterday was a very up and down day. So I left Gallup, New Mexico. The site's still in Arizona, and I left in the morning. You might have seen my morning video with Robert, which completely caught me off guard. I had no idea Robert was there, nor did I know he would break out into the national anthem at the end of the video, which I thought was really cool. But I headed out, and I was just grooving. I knew there was rain in the forecast, but I didn't know how bad and how soon, so I was just grooving. By noontime, I had done 15 or 16 miles, which had me right on pace for everything I needed to do. And then it started to turn. I blistered up a little bit, and about 2 miles from the Arizona, actually about a mile and a half from the Arizona border, in a rest station, I needed to pull over and and redo my feet and just rest and get a little something in me to eat. It was about 12:30. I hadn't eaten yet at that point. So I did a live stream, and not long after I did that live stream, did the rains come heavy. And I had ponchos. I was able to set them all up, and luckily I made it to the rest area and was able to relax for a little bit. The problem was, and I don't know any other way to say this without trying to sound like a whiner, but I was in more pain and more sore yesterday than I'd been since my first week of the journey. I don't know why that is or how that is, but I was uh, I was completely sore. Um, uh, to complicate matters, one of the reasons why I hadn't eaten for a bit, and this is not anything that's wanting, but um, financially, I'm on fumes. It's little things that I don't, I think, oh, I'll be fine. I got, a little bit of money in my pocket, but that, you know 3 or 4 waters, you know and a bag of jerky costs $12. When you stop and do wash twice a week, it's $5 a shot. It's little things like that add up. Anyway, that's not your problem. But my point is, I'm kind of renaming this portion of the journey sore and poor, because that's what yesterday was. So I was mentally, it was one of my toughest days, honestly. The only thing that made it probably not my most mentally tough day was the fact that I know I'm so close to the end, and and then I'm going to get there. And I also know I've got some folks in Phoenix I'm going to be talking to today to set up some arrangements where I'll be meeting some folks, so it won't be sitting outside here and sleeping outside. So it was a bad day. I started to walk again. I knew I couldn't stay there, and I started to walk. And you might have heard me say I take a muscle relaxer when I'm in a lot of pain. I did. Made me a little groggy. As I said yesterday, I was going to try to sleep during the daytime. Well, that was definitely an eye-opener, because part of the challenge is that I'm about 60 feet from the highway. So I found a spot, and because the ground was wet, I used my poncho as a tarp, got my bag out, and I did start to sleep, but then something happened I didn't anticipate, and it's been it's a little tough in the dark. One of the reasons I have a hard time sleeping at night in the dark is because every noise sounds, is that a snake, is that a wolf, is that not a wolf, a coyote, is that a bobcat, and even though I know it's not, realistically, mentally, it's hard to get your mind to rest. Well, I woke up yesterday covered in ants. Disgusting, not disgusting, it's not good, but luckily they weren't the big red ants, these little black ants, but they were all over me. And I mean, they were running like they knew. They were running 300 miles an hour, it seemed like, scattering all over. So anyway, I got up and I jumped up and I tried to dust them off, and it seemed like everywhere I went in this area to try to lay down, even if I could rest my mind at that point, there was nowhere to lay down. So two other things happened, kind of when it rains it pours, literally. So in getting packed up or laying down, my poncho, I have three. I've got one for the bag, one for the little pull trolley, and one for me. The one for me is the more heavy duty one. Well, that just tore right down the middle. So that is basically useless at this point in time. And then I strapped my bag to the little dolly cart with a working rubber band, a large heavy duty rubber band. Well, that rubber band snapped yesterday too, so now I had nothing to secure. That's not true, I didn't have nothing. I had to improvise. So I had a bungee I use to kind of brought across my chest so my bag doesn't continue to slide off my shoulder, which was the recommendation of several people, probably back in Missouri, I'm going to guess. But I had to kind of jerry-rig that up so I could have the dolly working, and anyway, so all of this stuff is raining and pouring, but yet I know I got to keep plugging along, because that's all I've got left right now, is to keep plugging along. So I did, but I was battling mentally, guys. I'll tell you right now. Sore and poor is no way to be walking into nowhere. The real positive was that I knew around that time in the afternoon my kids would be getting home from school, and I'd be able to give them a call and speak to them. I know they wouldn't let me fail. I won't let them fail. And that was just that extra half-hour motivation to keep going. And then I started to actually do a video, just like I'm doing right now. I started to do a video where I was real honest with you guys, and just trying to be me. I'm not trying to look for sympathy. When I'm happy and I'm up, you guys know it, and when I'm down, you guys know it. Well, yes, it was a rough day, and I've got a lot to look forward to, but it was a tough battle yesterday. But just as I was leaving, literally doing the video, rain start, and up pulls this young man, Colby. Colby's a 24-year-old, just got medically discharged from the Army, heading back out to Washington. Doesn't have a lot going on. Like, his car was full of stuff. He's like, hey man, it's raining, can I get you a ride? And I said, yeah, if you can, get me up to the next mini mart. He goes, well, I'm gonna head up, I'm just doing some tourist things, I got no real agenda. I'm heading up to the Petrified Forest National Park. So if you want, I can drop you off anywhere before that, otherwise, that's where I'm heading. Let's do it. So we went to the national park, and he was just like a kid. He's got no body fat, he's ripped. He's running all over the place. And frankly, I was just too sore and beat that I was just kind of sitting in the car and talking to the family. But he was running around. We got to the national forest because he's military. We didn't have to pay the $20 cover, and there's a bunch of different sites. The vastness is amazing, the beauty is amazing, and he was just basically kind of running all over. And that's what happened yesterday. Really good guy. There's definitely some unique things about him that I'll just keep between him and I that he shared with me. One unique thing I thought is that I will share is that he and I guess this might be for a lot of people that I've heard, like in the movie Shawshank Redemption, you get I forget what the term is now, but you get you can't deal with civilization because you've been in prison for so long. And with him in the Army, I said, what are your plans? You going home to family? No, not really. You have any real plans? No, not really. His big plan is to go, and just because. He said, you're gonna think I'm crazy, but I just want to go be a farmer in Guam. I don't even know what Guam is. I don't want to be dealing with. He'd been burning a few relationships, and I guess the Army was going to be his gig until he broke his foot in several different places. So, great young man. I appreciate him reaching out to me yesterday. And then just as quickly as I met him, dropped me off on the side of the road, and he's like, look, I'm just going to keep blasting on. I've been driving since Amarillo or something this morning. I'm just going to keep blasting on. Hey man, God bless. I wish you all the luck in the world. And just like that, he dropped me off, said some goodbyes, and off he went. And so here I am in Arizona, and that's just a little bit of a recap of yesterday, as honest as I can be. I do want to give a few shout outs. So unfortunately, this is a bad shout out, but to Judy Gartrell, my apologies. I did check the phone and tried to check some baseball scores, and saw that your Cubbies didn't get it done in extra innings, so I think their season ended, which I'm sorry for. That's one shout out. The other thing is, here's something kind of cool, so I'm going to try to take this upbeat if I can. I don't want to be such a downer. And maybe you guys know some of these people, you can do some fact checking. So as I was walking yesterday, way back in the day, and I got to try to speed it up, somebody said to me, hey Jim, what do you think about it? What keeps you going? And it's amazing how one can trigger a bunch of thoughts. And yesterday, for some reason, I was reliving a period of time when I was about 21, 22 years old, and I don't know how I'm trying to think how it came to be. Anyway, back on Long Island, I worked for a company called Coverage Concepts Incorporated out of Islandia, New York, kind of the Harbog. And I worked there, and it was this amazing woman. Her name was Mary Ellen, I want to say Fatcher, F-A-S-T-C-H-E-R? F-A-T-S-C-H-E-R? Fatcher, F-A-T, maybe that was it. Anyway, I used to call her Mrs. Meth because she always signed her notes with MEF at the bottom. But here's how it came to be. I was thinking about her. I love odd thoughts, and she had one that she shared way back in the day, has always stuck with me to this day, 30 years later. When we pay at a restaurant, we pay by a percentage of the bill. And she had pointed out to me, if you go to breakfast at an IHOP, they bring you an $8, eggs and bacon plate. They do the same amount of work as the person that brings you steak and lobster at the steakhouse for $48 a plate. But yet we tip that waitress differently. And that always kind of stuck with me. I don't know why I was thinking about that yesterday. And I started thinking about Mrs. Meth. I know she had 2 children. I think her husband's name was Robert. She was a great woman, and she was I just always liked her. And then there was another woman that worked there named Dottie. I want to say Dottie McGlosey. And there's something unique about Dottie. Her son Tom played baseball for St. John's. I think was drafted by the Rangers till he threw his arm out. Always a sweet little Italian woman. I got to wrap up time, but one of the reasons I bring her up is earlier in my journey I was talking about true love. I asked people on a scale of 1 to 10 how happily married you are. And up until this journey, I had about 5 people in my entire life that said 9 or 10. Dottie was one of them. Such a sweet woman. I got to rock and roll. I love you guys. Those are some of the random thoughts that run through my head. Thank you for following. Reach out to that mail. All right, take care, guys. Bye-bye. Reach out to the email.